Survival games. The bread and butter of Steam in recent years. Truly a genre of video game that has been able to flourish like never before, thanks to things such as the early access system. Unturned, DayZ, Rust, Ark, and many others like it have all been able to thrive. Obviously, it isn't all sunshine and rainbows though. Steam as we know it has its deliciously bad reputation for being filled to the brim with absolute trash, with today's game being infamous for causing a, well, let's just say it caused an incident. Welcome to How Bad Can It Be, the series where we look at terrible games so you don't have to. Today we are looking at Day 1, Garry's Incident. Developed and published by Wild Things Studio, Day 1 was supposed to present the player with a unique experience at the time. Being released in September of 2013, Garry's Incident was an early dive into the world of modern day survival. Sure, now we have them up to the eyeballs, but back then, not so much. Let alone one that promised a story with it. Interestingly enough though, the reviews listed on the Steam page all speak highly of the game, saying you should keep an eye on it. This means that before launch things were looking good for Wild Thing, and that Garry's Incident would be a huge success. So what happened? Well, let's go have a look, shall we? In Day 1 you play as Gary Friedman, a veteran bush pilot who has recently lost his wife and daughter in a tragic accident. Now seeking danger and excitement, Gary takes jobs deemed impossible, just so he can feel alive again. Now, the Wikipedia page about this game actually says that Gary is British, and I don't know about you, but
Yeah, ready. Roger.
yeah, that doesn't sound like any British accent that I've ever heard, and I should know, because I'm British. Are you serious? Friday the 13th. This game happens on Friday the 13th. This happens on a Friday the 13th? For the love of God, you don't need to add so many cliches to your damn storytelling game. I just can't escape Friday the 13th, can I? For fuck's sake, I really can't. I'm trying, guys. I didn't know this until writing the script. This is really annoying. God damn it. Anyway, on Friday the 13th of June 2014, Gary goes on a mission to drop off some cargo and the Yellowstone supervolcano. For real though. Like Yellowstone. Like that Yellowstone. Like the one that if it erupts we're all pretty much dead Yellowstone. Okay then. According to the synopsis on the Steam page, he's going to Nevada. He's going to Area 51. Look, it isn't stated, I know, but the artifacts he has in his plane is some sort of Indiana Jones bullshit that can open up wormholes and send him to the Amazon rainforest. That's here, by the way. Yeah, aliens. Area 51. He's going to Area 51. For fuck's sake. You find yourself in the Amazon after being sucked into a wormhole, you crash, and you're taken by the tribespeople to be sacrificed before you break free and you're ready to rock. Speaking of which, let's do this. I genuinely don't know what to say about the way this game looks. From the first glance, it seems fine. The textures don't seem terrible as a whole, and all of the landscapes inside and out seem to hold up to this day, being able to be plugged into a modern survival game without much of an issue at all. That being said though, it does have plenty of flaws. The atmospheric touches to the world being just awful. Fog and fire flickering in and out of existence at random, completely ruining what little immersion the player would have anyway. A similar issue stems from the outdoor sunlight, with sunlight seemingly having seizures and just really hindering an already poor experience with the game. To top it all off, we have the animation. Now we'll be touching upon this very soon and how it affects certain elements of the gameplay, but I just wanted to show you this first. Look at this animation for Gary in the beginning of the game. It is fucking dreadful. It's all rubbery looking and it looks like it belongs in a Garry's mod machinima on YouTube. The gameplay in Day 1 fucking sucks. There is so much wrong with this game, it actually makes me sad. So much in fact, it's why the episode is so late. Rewrites of the script delayed me for days. because there's so much to talk about. So take the information in the form of this super sexy Vivid Chim Top 10. Number 10, QuickTime Events. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, this game has the bane of the internet gaming community's existence. An opinion splitter, to put it in the nicest of terms. QuickTime events do arguably have their use when implemented correctly. Creating tense and fast-paced scenarios to keep the player's mind active during moments of the game with full control wouldn't quite work. In day one though, they actually kind of do the opposite, slowing the pace of the game right down and added to areas which honestly don't make much sense. Speaking of which, number 9, crafting. A survival game would not be complete without the ability to craft items necessary for your survival. Day 1 is no different, giving you a standard make the thing scenario but with one little twist. QuickTime events. That's right, as previously mentioned, QuickTime events allow the player to create in Garry's Incident. Or well, I would be able to say that confidently, but I only got to the second crafting objective and I couldn't figure it out for the life of me. I'm fairly sure it was completely broken, limiting me to the basic crafting of the bandage, where you have to press a prompt to tear it. It's just not needed and seems to completely bog down the pace of the game. Number 8. Speaking of bogging down the pace of this game, we have the combat. The melee combat in this game fucking sucks. The equivalent of two kids tapping each other with toy lightsabers. Day 1 probably provides some of the worst feeling and looking melee combat I've ever seen. Choppy and inhuman animations with very little weight or impact. Now I know there's more to a survival game than its combat, but at the same time, to really convey the feeling of I survived, the relief of escaping tough situations really benefits from good feeling combat. Number 7. Movement. In most games, you press the allocated movement key/button and voila, you are moving. That's about it though. A simple concept that is really messed with because that would just be ridiculous. Messing with the fluidity of movement in the game to make it deliberately slower just doesn't make much sense. Well, the folks over at Wild Thing apparently didn't get the memo. In this game, you take what I like to call a run-up. That's right, you have a little animation that you have to go through before you can move in this game. Garry's arms moving into position. I know other games do this too, but in those games it doesn't take as long. The time is still minuscule, but long enough to make it noticeable. Number 6. Confession time. I don't really know why I put puzzles on the list, because they aren't really puzzles. The first one you get is just breaking 2 chains either end of a room so a door opens, leading you to the next area. The second one is this button puzzle, which you have to force push the buttons with Garry in a certain sequence. That would be fine if they didn't make the correct sequence the first one that you're gonna fucking try. Like, come on. 1, 2, 3, boom, you're done, bye. Number 5. The stealth combat in this game is the actual worst thing that I have ever seen. They give a tutorial on it just before the button puzzle. Sneak up behind a guy and press E. Sounds simple, right? Okay, let's give it a go. Well, I guess that worked fucking wonders now, didn't it? Number 4.
Oh yeah, now we're talking.
Oh, now we're talking. Only now? What the fuck do you mean now we're talking? Sorry mate, but the last time I checked, that isn't a gun at all. In fact, I don't even know what that thing is. The script says alien thing, but who the fuck knows? Do you know, Garry? Is that why we're talking? So this thing shoots energy blasts because of course it does, and not only does it completely throw what little sense this game had out the window, it successfully becomes a pain in the ass about 5 seconds into its existence. Why? It has splash damage. Not just any splash damage though. instant kill splash damage, meaning you have to make sure you stand well back from the blast radius of this thing, which is fair enough on this wall, but when you have to pull it out on someone and use it, not gonna happen. It's such a stupid addition to this game and makes zero fucking sense. Number 3, survival elements. You have your health, your water, and I think that's food, but it could easily be bleeding notifications too for all I know and care. It's a pretty standard set of things, but they never seem to go down. I found myself needing water once throughout my entire time playing this game, which just allowed me to see the crappy water physics. Number 2, this fucking gun makes no goddamn sense. Why is it still here? Did someone from years ago die? Where's the body? What killed them? Why is the gun still here? Why are the bullets still all here? Why hasn't one tribesman, like, I don't know, the guy standing right here, pick it up and become king because he had the weapon that could rule the kingdom? Why did it just leave it laying here for what I can only assume to be centuries? If that is the case though, why does it still work perfectly? Fuck! You have no idea how much this annoys me. Number 1, speaking of guns, the shooting mechanics seem to expose this game more than anything else. Look at this for example. I'm clearly not hitting anything around here at all, but for some reason my shots are not going through. The hitboxes are massive. Like, how do you do that poorly? I'm shooting up here. The platform ends here. How is it so high? It's just crazy. But shooting in this game, it's just bland as the melee combat, and there's no feeling to it, no recoil. This is terrible. I hate it. What? Are you still wondering whether this game is still worth its £2? Hell no. Are you mad? This game is a fucking disaster. It shouldn't even be on Steam still, let alone with an associated price tag. But devs have clearly tried to promise the world with Garry's Incident and have not been able to live up to that promise. Now, I'm not a guy who enjoys just shitting on everything as much as this series points to the contrary, but I'm a guy who enjoys this industry and a guy who believes the Steam system isn't the best for consumers. It's too easy to be tempted into buying poor games because of their frequent or permanent low price points. I guess that leaves me with one question though. Day 1 Garry's Incident, how bad can it be? Well, if you look at the scale which I have just conveniently made for this series, Day 1 Garry's Incident is a worst case scenario. Well, that's all I got time for today. I once again want to thank everyone for continuing the support on this series. It means a lot to me, and I apologise for the delays in the recent episodes. I hope to get them all out soon and get back on track, making them a weekly series again. This game just kind of pushed me to my breaking point though. It seriously was horrible, and I know a lot of people actually do own it on Steam. So if you are someone who does own this game and has played this game, please share your experiences with it. I'd love to hear what you have to think about it down below. It honestly baffles me. Like, it's the reason this has taken so long. It's just so bad. I didn't want to be too harsh on my script, but I didn't want to be not harsh enough. It drove me insane for about 3 weeks. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. If you did like it, if you didn't, you know, there's a dislike button right there. If you really enjoyed it, give me a subscribe perhaps. Ignore that train that you probably heard. If you didn't hear it though, it's an imaginary train. Once again, hope you had a good time watching, and I hope to see you soon. Goodbye everyone.